it's kind of like a two answer type vibe. I found out music was important to my life because my family, they're all musicians on my dad's side, and my dad used to have rehearsal in the living room, and then my mom would like, well, you know, stay in your room and do your math homework, but I would sneak out of my room and I would like crawl under the kitchen table into the dining room and I would watch my dad and his band rehearse in the living room. And like I used to have this diary when I was like 8 or 6 or probably like 6 or something, and I remember reading it maybe like 15 years ago or something, and I wrote something when I was a little kid, and I was like, me and my dad and his band, they were like jamming out, and I was using some really corny language but it was something about him jamming out and how much I loved it. So I think from that moment I really appreciated music and seen how important it was in my life. I didn't really want to do music until about college, when I just did this song with my friend, and it was supposed to be kind of like just having fun, but it's just like something like got unlocked in my brain, or I don't know, in my heart or something, and it's just like, yeah, you need to keep doing this. And you know, 5 years later I'm here. Yeah, no, South Central, I mean, besides it being like my home, I think being raised in South Central gave me a spinal cord. Cause like, yeah, half of it is like, yeah, it's like family, and it's any experience you get from a neighborhood. But you know, in the 90s it was a bit rougher. It was a whole lot rougher. So in a lot of ways you were making moves like to survive in a sense, you know. And I feel like that gave me, yeah, like it gave me a backbone for like, you know, in my older age in corporate America, because like corporate America would try to like throw you around in every which way, and you gotta be able to stand up for yourself. So no, South Central gave a lot to me, you know, but it definitely taught me how to stand my ground, my own too, and I super appreciate South Central for that. Alright, so for the song Find a Way, we were just in the studio. I had like a month-long lockout, just working on this new album I'm working on called SuperGood. I was working on called SuperGood, and it's just this type of vibe when you're in a space with friends and everybody's like trust each other, loving, you know, and we all just trying to just make something new and different and just super creative. So then like every day we'll come in like with a different BPM. I come in like, okay, let's try something at this tempo. So like that specific day we was like, let's just try something at like 130 tempo. So that's like around there. And it's just like everything, like, you know, from the 2010s to like to now has been primarily like a half tempo type speed or halftime. Like it's been like boom, boom, do do do, like halftime. So we were just like, all right, cool, like let's find a way to speed it up and like get something to get people, you know, grooving and dancing and moving again. And from there, like one of the homies from this group called The Breed was working on a drum pattern, and he just was like, it's funny because I watched a video the other day, and like with one of the patterns that he did on the snare, it was more of a Spanish vibe, and it was called like a ghost pattern or something. But then one of the other producers said, hey, don't do the ghost pattern, just do, instead of doing like on a down, do it on the up. And then when he did it on the up, it turned it from Spanish to African, which is like so trippy, like how music can work that way, and like patterns and mathematics and stuff. But anyway, so he does that pattern, and we're like, oh, this is a vibe. Like we in there grooving and dancing. And then the other homie, he comes in and he plays a synth. He has like we have like a vintage Juno, and it's like one of the Junos they use on Thriller. And he's just playing these like patterns and these progressions, and it's just like perfect. It feels like Earth, Wind, and Fire, or like Quincy Jones or something. And then we're on the other side, as they're producing on one side, we're recording, then producing it live and looping it. So then we're just writing in the other room, and we have a mic and we just passing it around the room. And I'm just like, nobody write nothing down, just like let whatever is in your brain come out, and you know, saying we record it. So then like I pass it one homie, he's chanting and shit. I pass it to another my homegirl, and she's like she just, you know, spitting out different melodies, and then she comes up with the phrasing Find a Way, you know. And so it was very much just a very open, creative, colorful experience. But when we were done, we was like, oh, like we got a product, like we got something special. So a month later, you know, Corona happened, you know, saying George Taylor happened and everything. Did I just say that?
George Floyd.
I keep thinking, why the fuck I keep thinking George Floyd, excuse me. Why I keep thinking George Taylor? That's been like my thought for the past 3 days.
Combining George Floyd and Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm like, I thought about that yesterday and I'm like, that's crazy that it's happening so much that like my brain is now just putting them together. That's wild. Anyway, yeah, George Floyd happened, and Breonna Taylor, you know what I'm saying? And many other names, you know, and it's a lot of the music I made for the album, we couldn't release it, you know, because nobody had an ear for it. Like, everybody's eyes was open, so it's just like nobody got time to consume anything that had nothing to do with the cause. So the song that was fitting the most was this song, Find a Way, but of course it's literally, we gonna have to find a way. And it was just like, yeah, that's the one. So, you know I'm here. Yeah, alright, so I didn't make any music during the protests or during Corona. But we made the video. So speaking on the video, I guess for me, for a song like Find a Way, it just feels so much like a celebration. So I guess here's the thing too. When I was scrolling down Instagram during that time, like I was so stoked that everybody was just like, you know, pushing like amazing messages, and like people were like activated and they were just like, you know, contributed to this not just charity but just like this fund to like release these protesters, or like just a different post on like so many different subjects that were like taboo to speak on, like white privilege or anything like that. Like everybody was just like turned up. And like also you seen the videos of like police brutality like more and more, and like they were happening one after the other in live, you know, like the same day, you know. And it's the feeling of it is crazy even to talk about it. Like one side you can be stoked, but on the other side it's like triggering, you know, especially as like a black man to have to see that, because it's like a constant reminder that you ain't safe, like in this country that like your ancestors like built, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that reminder is just, it fuck with me emotionally. So for my music, in a sense, like you can go anywhere, you can get the news, you can get what's happening, you can go on Instagram, you can go on social networks and stuff. I think for me, just specifically at that moment, I just wanted to, like, if there was a cave of abyss darkness, I just wanted to be like the little light, just a little flashlight in the cave, because if you shine a light in the cave in the midst darkness, the light becomes the focal point. And just to remind people that, like, you know, like there is a destination, that we will get past this point and we'll be able to, like, or just remind people, like give people joy, you know, because I know at that moment, like I had to find my joy, because it was just like, damn, like, you know, like I got not just in my feelings, but like I start feeling anxious, and I start feeling like I just didn't feel safe, you know. And I think I need to have that message to like my people, like to remind them of like what good energy and joy, and just push that energy to them so they can get through their days, they can get through these days, you know. And then for me, I know that after all this is done, you know, like, and we get out of this, it's gonna be an immense feeling of celebration, you know. Like we gonna all celebrate that we made it, you know. So I guess I just wanted to have that energy, if that makes sense. I think for me, I'm like a radio. I listen to so much music that spans from like classical, gospel, hip hop and R&B, Indian meditation music, Nigerian psych from the 70s, like, you know, punk in all ranges, like 70s punk from like the UK, or like 90s punk from DC, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, because I hear so many things, I'm just like a big jambalaya, a big stirring pot of just different sounds and textures. So it's like, even if I didn't want to be, it's very hard for me not to be, I guess, quote unquote experimental. I think just whatever I listen to and whatever I take in, it just comes out in the music and whatever I create. But it's never like an intentional thing, like I'm about to be experimental today. I think it just comes out. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's right. But I guess when a listener listens to it, It's just like, oh shit, like this is, you know, he goes here, then he goes there. He'll take you up, then he'll take you down. Like, you know what I'm saying? We'll have like, you know, drums and keys, and then the next you have like a violin, and then the next you have something else. So, but yeah, I think it just kind of comes out of me naturally. I think hip hop, one, has always been reflective of the neighborhoods that it comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like even like trap being like one of the popular genres of today and of the 2010s, it was reflective of like what was happening in like the hoods of like Atlanta or like or Chicago or like, you know, Florida or whatever. Like folks is getting how they live, you know. But funny thing is, which happens with all genres of music, like it starts off like, you know, rich with like culture and like the stories, and it's just like it's so like just rich, you know. And then as different people pick it up, it begins to get diluted. So it's like, I think now what's gonna happen with hip hop is like you're gonna hear those elements of trap, but you're gonna hear different elements. Especially like, you know, we're the iTunes generation. I don't know if I can say iTunes on here. Can I say iTunes on here? We're the iPod generation. So, you know, like with the introduction of that technology, we were able to like put different genres. Like remember, it was like, it used to be, if you was a b-boy, you only listen to like this type of music. If you was like a punk, you listen to this. If you was a, you know, emo grunge, you know, like it was just different scenes. But it's just like iPods made it where it's like a scene kid could listen to 3 6 Mafia. and I think what's gonna happen is just like hip hop's gonna keep evolving. It's gonna keep evolving, and it's inevitable, you know. And like as far as different people coming in, they're gonna just change the sound of it, and it's like it's gonna be to the detriment in certain ways, but it's also gonna be to the evolution of it in a lot of ways, because some things are just inevitable. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see where it goes, but I'm happy to play a role in it and be able to like, I guess, bend genres and bring new textures to it. If I wasn't doing music, I'd be doing graphic design. So that's my thing. I love fonts. I love shapes. I love colors. So if I can put a good font, a good shape, and a good color together, I'm a pretty happy camper. I want to start getting more into sculpture. But instead of doing it as like wood carving or anything, I'm probably going to do is like 3D printing. And maybe just like go really big on it. But and then furniture. I want to definitely do that. I have some ideas on some really cool designs. So yeah, I definitely spend a lot. The times I'm not spending doing music, I'm doing some type of other art form. Yeah, I have an album dropping August 25th called SuperGood. It's a celebration of black music, from R&B to house to Afrobeat to gospel, rap, like all of those, you know. So if you listen to the album, it will be quite literally all of those genres. But it's a celebration, and like it felt like a celebration before everything happened in 2020, but now it's really about to be a celebration, and especially when I start performing it, it's gonna be insane. So it's called SuperGood. Drops August 25th. Slap that, play that for your grandma, play it out loud, and disturb your neighbors. Later.